Did you ever buy some tulips impulsively while grocery shopping? They were on sale, they looked beautiful. Those flamboyant, frilly parrot ones, colorful and standing straight up in their paper wrap. At home, you put them in a vase, and within an hour, the flowers drooped. You tried cutting off an extra centimeter on the slant, the way you've been told to do. Didn't help. They're toast. You just spent $20 on 6 tulips, and they lasted an hour. How come?
Hey, hoi, welcome to the Dutch door. Kom maar in. Ga je mee?
Most cut flowers are sold with care instructions that say the same thing. Trim the stems, change the water regularly, and fill the vase. We assume tulips follow the same rules. They don't. Tulips aren't like roses or carnations. When you cut a rose, it stops growing. The stem is just a delivery system for the water to the petals. But tulips keep growing after they're cut. The stem remains active, stretching toward light, even without roots. That's why they collapse so suddenly. They're not dying, they're growing faster than they can support themselves. And the trigger is water. When a tulip has unlimited access to water, its hollow stem absorbs too much, too fast. The tissue stretches, the flower sucks itself full of water, droops, and can't recover under all that weight. The problem is that tulips didn't evolve for this kind of water abundance. Tulips were first cultivated centuries ago by the Turks in Persia, in what's now modern-day Iran and Turkey, where they became a powerful symbol in the Ottoman Empire long before they ever reached Europe. Their natural home stretches across Central Asia from the mountains of Kazakhstan toward the Himalayas, where the climate is harsh and the nights are cold, the growing season is short and water is scarce, which is why wild tulips still grow there today. Tulips arrived in Europe in the 16th century after being gifted by an Ottoman sultan to an ambassador in Vienna, and from there they made their way to the Netherlands, where they first cultivated tulips were grown in the botanical gardens in Leiden. Even the name reflects that origin. Tulip comes from a Latinized version of a Turkish word for turban, because the flower was thought to resemble one. Tulips evolved as spring ephemerals, meaning they grow fast, flower briefly, and disappear before the heat arrives, which is why they're sold in winter and early spring and are almost gone by March, because that's their natural season. And when water is scarce, a tulip grows carefully, stretching slowly as the stem strengthens, allowing the flower to open and stand straight upright. When there's too much water, the stem grows faster than it can support itself, and the flower tips over, plant collapses under its own weight. In the Netherlands, a class of 8-year-olds did a simple experiment with the tulip bulb. They skewered the bulb above a glass, with the bulb just barely touching the water. Over the course of 10 days, the kids took notes. They watched the bulb get smaller and smaller. They measured the bulb and watched the stem and the flower bud grow steadily upward. The bottom part kind of empties while the top thickens into a beautiful tulip. That's how Dutch kids learn how tulips work. That's why tulips in Dutch homes stand straight for days. Not because the tulips are different, but because an entire country learned, at 8 years old, that tulips don't need deep water. The Netherlands produces 6.5 billion tulip bulbs per year. If you line them up side by side, they'd wrap around the earth 8 times. They're grown across roughly 21,000 football fields using the same basic principle as the little tulip experiment Dutch kids do in school. Tulip bulbs are grown outdoors in large open fields. They're planted in the fall, sit through the winter, grow through the spring, produce a flower, and then have that flower cut off so the plant redirects its energy back into the bulb. After the harvest, the bulbs don't go straight into cold storage. They're kept in dry, airy rooms at moderate temperatures, where they rest before the next stage. Only when the grower decides exactly when the tulips should bloom, the bulbs are moved into a special cold room called the ketelkamer. The word literally means tickle room. Inside, temperature, darkness, and humidity are tightly controlled to trigger the bulb's internal clock, signaling that winter has passed and growth should begin. Once they come out of the cold, the bulbs are moved into greenhouses, where warmth and light drive fast, even growth. In spring, when you see large fields of blooming tulips, those tulips are often cut directly under their bulb to leave the stem to strengthen the bulb. Those bulbs can take 2 to 3 years to develop the strength where they're large enough to sell. For tulips grown as cut flowers, the entire plant is pulled from the ground with the bulb still attached. The bulb is removed mechanically and composted. Roughly half of the production goes to cut flowers, while the other half is sold as planting bulbs to nurseries. From the field to the Aalsmeer flower auction and to shops and markets, cut tulips are kept tightly packed and completely dry, because water at this stage would trigger unwanted growth. Too much water at home isn't the only problem. Your tulips were already compromised when you bought them at the grocery store in the flower section. In countries outside the Netherlands, tulips are often sold already open, with petals clearly visible. Beautiful, but most of their energy has already been spent. An open tulip has stretched and grown and is almost at the end of its life cycle. A closed tulip is different. When only a hint of color is visible through the green leaves, the flower still has growth ahead of it. Feed it 1 centimeter of water and it will grow straight up and keep standing up for maybe even 10 days. My friend Geert, who had a flower stand in downtown Vancouver, knew this. He taught his customers how to treat tulips. He had a very loyal following. And Geert's final advice: don't buy tulips that are already fully open. Keep only 1 centimeter in the vase and check them every day, refilling to that same 1 centimeter and no more. Do that and they will last you to 7 to 10 days, guaranteed. From a Dutch expert who spent a small fortune on tulips worldwide. And yes, that includes Canada.